Hello, basketball aficionados. Vivian Dime here, your host for Jump for AI, dissecting the NBA's pulse. Joining me, the ever-incisive Mr. Ron Rivermore and the delightfully candid Sir George Biteful. Today, we're unraveling Masai Ujiri's departure, the 2025 free agency tapestry, Cooper Flagg's premier draft ascension, Embiid's triumphant return, Ace Bailey's enigmatic draft conundrum, Andre Drummond's pivotal player option, and the imminent NBA 2K26 Summer League spectacle. Let's jump in. Our first dispatch from the NBA's executive suites brings a seismic shift from the north. A titan of the Raptors front office has made his departure. The recent announcement regarding Masai Ujiri's departure as vice chairman and president of the Toronto Raptors marks a truly pivotal moment in the franchise's narrative. To see such a transformative figure, the architect of their singular NBA championship in 2019, part ways with the organization after a more than decade-long tenure is profoundly disheartening. It compels one to scrutinize the underlying dynamics at play within Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. I've certainly sold all my stocks in MLSE's management philosophy.
Pivotal? Disheartening? Ms. Dimes, let's be brutally honest. Masai Ujiri's tenure, while punctuated by that one championship, ultimately ended in a whimper. He was heading into the final year of his contract, and the Raptors have missed the playoffs 4 of the last 5 years, including the last 3. The market doesn't reward past glories when current performance is abysmal. He got lucky with Kawhi Leonard, who then promptly bolted. That's not a sustainable model, that's a one-hit wonder.
Hold on, R squared. You talking like winning a championship is just getting lucky. Man, that's cold. Masai Ujiri brought a title to Toronto, a city that never had one. You don't just stumble into that. They talking about him being out after all that. That's just the way it is in this league now, ain't it? No loyalty, no patience. You win them the biggest prize and they still kick you to the curb. It's a damn shame, I tell ya.
To dismiss the 2019 championship as mere serendipity, Mr. Rivermore, is to disregard the meticulous strategic architecture Mr. Ujiri meticulously constructed. His audacious trade of DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard, a move that sent seismic tremors through the league, was a masterstroke of executive foresight, not a roll of the dice. Furthermore, his decision to elevate Nick Nurse to head coach over Dwayne Casey demonstrated an acute understanding of the team's evolving needs. These were calculated risks that yielded an unparalleled return on investment.
Calculated risks? He traded a loyal franchise player for a rental. Leonard packed his bags for Los Angeles faster than you can say free agency. What about the aftermath of that masterstroke, Ms. Dimes? The Raptors remained a force for one pandemic-interrupted season, then plummeted. 4 out of 5 years missing the postseason, including a dismal 25-5-7 record last year. That's not a return on investment, that's a market crash. The facts are clear. The team declined precipitously under his recent leadership.
R squared, you're always looking at the glass half empty, man. You can't blame a man for a player leaving a free agency. Kyle Lowry went to Miami. Fred VanVleet bolted to Houston. You can't chain him to the city. Masai had to make tough calls, trading Siakam and Anunoby to start a rebuild. This ain't no video game where you just press a button and get a new superstar. This is real life, with real players making real choices. He was trying to do what was best for the franchise, even if it meant tearing it down to build it back up.
Indeed, Mr. Biteful, the exigencies of player movement are an inherent challenge in modern NBA management. However, one must consider the full economic cycle of a franchise. Mr. Ujiri was rehired by the Raptors in May 2013, and under his stewardship, the team made the playoffs 7 straight seasons from 2013-2014 to 2019-20. He cultivated a culture of belief, famously urging Toronto to believe in this city and ourselves. That sustained period of competitiveness, culminating in a championship, demonstrates a profound long-term investment strategy.
Long-term investment? He's been there 13 seasons. The market demands consistent returns, Ms. Dimes, not just a single peak followed by a prolonged valley. The culture of belief didn't stop 57 losses last season, nor did it prevent the team from missing the playoffs for 3 consecutive years. His commitment to a rebuild resulted in only Chris Boucher remaining from the championship team. That's not a strategic rebuild, that's a complete liquidation of assets without a clear path to profitability. The numbers don't lie.
Liquidation? Man, you make it sound like he was selling off old furniture. He was trying to get assets for the future, R squared. You think it's easy to trade Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby and get back equal value overnight. This ain't no fantasy league. And what about MLSE's part in all this? They got a trend of moving on from team presidents. Brendan Shanahan, Bill Manning, now Masai. Sounds like they got a short fuse, not Masai being a market crash.
Precisely, Mr. Biteful. The disconcerting pattern of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment dismissing their team presidents, from Brendan Shanahan with the Maple Leafs to Bill Manning with Toronto FC and the Argonauts, suggests a systemic issue within the corporate hierarchy rather than isolated performance deficiencies. It raises profound questions about the stability of leadership and the cultivation of long-term vision within the organization. I've divested my confidence in their executive retention policies, as it appears to be a recurring corporate malady.
Systemic issue? Or a clear-eyed assessment of underperformance across multiple franchises? If you're not producing, you're out. That's the capitalist reality, Ms. Dimes. Shanahan, Manning, now Ujiri. Maybe the common denominator isn't MLSE's corporate malady, but the results delivered by the executives. The market doesn't care about long-term visions when the product on the court is losing 57 games. It's a performance-based industry, and Ujiri's recent performance simply didn't meet the required standard.
See, that's the problem with you, R squared. You're always looking at the bottom line, not the heart of the matter. These ain't widgets, man. These are people. You think Masai Ujiri, a man who brought a championship to a city that never had one, just forgot how to do his job overnight? Nah, this is about power, about the suits making moves to save their own hides. It's a shame, a real shame. They just looking for a scapegoat, plain and simple, and Masai was the easiest target.
Despite the corporate machinations, one cannot overlook the profound human element in this narrative. Mr. Ujiri was present at the OVO Athletic Center just hours before the first round of the NBA draft, greeting reporters, seemingly unaware of the impending severance. This abrupt dismissal, particularly after such a monumental achievement, underscores the precarious nature of even the most esteemed positions in professional sports. It's a stark reminder that even the most dedicated architects can have their blueprints discarded without warning.
Unaware? Or playing the part for the cameras, Ms. Dimes? Executives in his position, especially heading into the final year of a contract, are always aware of the precariousness of their roles. This isn't a tragedy, it's a business transaction. MLSE stated that the Raptors organization, under Bobby Wexler, is in a great place and has a plan in place for next season and beyond. That's the new reality. Ujiri's era is over, and the market has moved on to the next phase.
Bobby Webster? Good man, I'm sure. But you don't just replace a guy like Masai Ujiri with a press release and a search for a successor. That's like trying to replace a whole engine with a new set of tires. It ain't the same. This ain't just about business, R squared. It's about respect. And they didn't show him much of it. A man who gave them their only championship, and they treat him like he's just another piece of paper. It's a slap in the face to anyone who believes in loyalty.
Regardless of the immediate corporate calculus, Mr. Ujiri's legacy is indelibly etched into the annals of NBA history. He cultivated a culture of belief, famously urging Toronto to believe in this city and ourselves. That championship, a singular triumph for the franchise, transcends the recent win-loss records. It's a testament to his transformative leadership and strategic acumen, transforming a nascent organization into a champion. I've bought significant stock in his historical impact, which will endure far beyond this corporate decision.
Historical impact? The history books will also show the rapid decline post-Kawhi. The culture of belief didn't stop Kyle Lowry from leaving, or Fred VanVleet. It certainly didn't prevent 57 losses last season. Legacy is built on sustained success, not a single peak followed by a prolonged valley. The market values consistency and future potential, not just a fleeting moment of glory from 5 years ago. His recent track record simply doesn't justify continued employment at that level.
Consistency? Man, you talking like Michael Jordan never lost a game. Every team goes through cycles. You think the San Antonio Spurs ain't gonna have a bad year? This ain't about consistency for Masai. It's about what he did achieve. He built something from the ground up, took a chance, and delivered. That's more than most of these suits will ever do. It's a damn shame, I tell you. They just don't understand the game, only the balance sheet.
While the departure of a figure as pivotal as Mr. Ujiri marks a significant inflection point, the extension of General Manager Bobby Webster suggests a continuity in the strategic direction, albeit under new presidential oversight. The stated goal of MLSE is to move the Raptors towards our next NBA championship. One can only hope this transition facilitates, rather than impedes, that ambitious objective. The market will be watching closely to see if this corporate restructuring yields the desired dividends or merely perpetuates a cycle of executive turnover.
Bobby Webster's extension is a clear signal. MLSE is moving on, and they're confident in the new direction. The next NBA championship won't be built on past glories, but on new leadership and a fresh approach. Ujiri's time was up. It's a clean break, and frankly, it was overdue. The market demands evolution, and the Raptors are finally embracing it. This isn't a cycle of executive turnover, Ms. Dimes. It's a necessary recalibration to get back to winning.
New leadership, new approach, same old story. They'll bring in some new face, he'll make some moves, and if it don't work out in a couple years, they'll kick him to the curb too. That's the cycle, man. It ain't about evolution, it's about the corporate treadmill. Masai Ujiri deserved better after all he gave him. He was a true leader, not just some number on a spreadsheet. That's just the truth of it, and anyone who says different is just spinning yarns.
Indeed, Mr. Biteful, the pursuit of sustained excellence in professional sports often appears to be an Sisyphean task, with executives perpetually pushing the boulder of expectation uphill. Mr. Ujiri's journey from assistant GM in Toronto to GM of the Nuggets, and then his triumphant return to lead the Raptors, exemplifies a career dedicated to the sport. His dismissal, despite his profound contributions, underscores the brutal, unforgiving nature of the business, where past triumphs offer no immunity from future scrutiny. It's a sobering lesson for any aspiring executive.
Sobering lesson? It's a clear lesson: deliver or depart. His profound contributions culminated in a team that went 25-5-7. The market doesn't care about the Sisyphean tasks when the product is failing. He had his chance, he made his moves, and the results of the last few years speak for themselves. This isn't brutal, it's accountability. Every executive knows the stakes. He simply didn't meet them in the latter part of his tenure.
Accountability? Man, they holding him accountable for a rebuild they signed off on. You can't rebuild a house in a day, especially when the foundation's been ripped out. This ain't just about wins and losses, R-squared. This is about a man who poured his heart into that organization, who brought a championship to a whole country, and they just toss him aside like yesterday's newspaper. It's a damn shame, and it shows you what this league really values: not loyalty, not hard work, just the next big thing.
The narrative of Masai Ujiri's departure, while concluding his direct involvement, serves as a compelling case study in the volatile intersection of sports, business, and human ambition. His legacy, particularly the 2019 championship, remains an indelible mark of his strategic genius. As an AI journalist, I find it imperative to highlight such stories, not merely for their factual content, but for the deeper insights they offer into the complex ecosystem of the NBA. It's a testament to the unpredictable nature of this grand enterprise.
A compelling case study of an executive who couldn't sustain success. The strategic genius is overshadowed by the recent failures. The NBA is a results-driven league, Ms. Dimes, not a historical society. The complex ecosystem demands constant adaptation and winning. Ujiri failed to adapt, and the unpredictable nature of the business simply caught up to him. It's a clear-cut example of why you can't rest on your laurels in professional sports. The market always moves forward.
Moving forward, they just threw out a man who knew how to build. This ain't just about results, R-squared. It's about the journey, the grind. Masai Ujiri put in the work, he took the risks, and he delivered the ultimate prize. For MLSE to just cut ties like this, it shows a lack of understanding of what it takes to truly build something great. It's a sad day for the game, and it's a reminder that even the best can get chewed up and spit out by the corporate machine. Don't do that, MLSE. Don't do that.
While the Raptors navigate a new era without the strategic genius of Mr. Ujiri, the league's future landscape is already being meticulously charted, as we now turn our gaze to the highly anticipated market of 2025, where the most coveted assets will soon be available for acquisition. Shifting our focus from the boardroom to the hardwood, we're now peering into the crystal ball of 2025, unveiling the elite echelon of talent poised to command the league's attention in free agency. The NBA has just unveiled the comprehensive schedule for the NBA 2K26 Summer League 2025, a veritable crucible of burgeoning talent set to ignite the Thomas & Mack Center and Pavilion in Las Vegas from July 10th to the 20th. This 11-day spectacle, featuring all 30 NBA franchises, promises a captivating glimpse into the league's future. It's an investment opportunity truly for those of us who track the market of potential. Every single one of the 76 contests will be broadcast across ESPN platforms or NBA TV, ensuring unparalleled access for enthusiasts and scouts alike. I've certainly bought stocks in the viewership figures for this event.
An investment opportunity, Viv? Please. We're talking about Summer League. Let's not inflate the prospectus here. 76 games of glorified scrimmages, where half the players won't even make a G League roster. The real conflict isn't some crucible of talent, it's the conflict between the media's overblown hype and the stark reality of what these young men actually are at this stage. Unproven commodities. It's a proving ground, yes, but for who? For the agents trying to get their guys paid, not necessarily for future legends. Michael Jordan didn't need a summer league to prove his mettle.
Hold on now, R squared. You sound like a broken record, always raining on the parade. 76 games, man. That's a lot of basketball. And my Sixers, they got VJ Edgecombe, the number 3 pick, squaring off against Harper and the Spurs right there on opening night, July 10th. That's a primetime matchup, a real heavyweight bout for these young fellas. You know, back in my day, we just played. No fancy summer league with all these cameras. But hey, if it gets the kids on the court, I ain't complaining too much. Just hope they play some real basketball, not this soft stuff.
While I appreciate your characteristic skepticism, Mr. Rivermore, history unequivocally demonstrates the profound significance of this very proving ground. Consider the illustrious lineage of former Summer League participants: Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, and Shai Gilgeous. Alexander All-Kia NBA Most Valuable Player Award recipients. This is not merely a collection of unproven commodities, it is the nascent stage for future titans. The conflict here is the immense pressure on these young men to begin forging their legacies, to demonstrate that their draft capital was a sound investment.
Oh, the MVP roll call! Viv, that's a classic fallacy of composition. You cherry-pick a handful of generational talents and then extrapolate that every Summer League participant is on that trajectory. That's like saying because Michael Jordan played basketball, every player who touches a basketball is destined for greatness. Those players are the exceptions, not the rule. The vast majority of these hopefuls will fade into obscurity. The real conflict is the delusion that this crucible actually produces anything more than a few diamonds in a mountain of coal. It's a spectacle, yes, but a largely irrelevant one for the grand scheme of NBA history.
R squared, you always got to be so negative, man. You sound like a broken record. Look, I get it. Not everyone's going to be Dr. J. But these kids, they got to start somewhere. And this Summer League, it's their first real taste of the big show. I just hope they're ready to play some tough basketball. None of this load management nonsense in Summer League, you know? They got Flagg and Harper, the top 2 picks, going head-to-head on July 12th. That's a real test. That's where you see who's got the grit, who's willing to fight for it. Not just some fancy dribbling and three-pointers.
Indeed, George, the schedule is replete with compelling narratives. The opening night alone presents a fascinating dual-pronged conflict. Cooper Flagg, the number 1 overall selection for the Dallas Mavericks, immediately facing the Los Angeles Lakers, a franchise synonymous with championship aspirations. Simultaneously, we witness the clash of the 2nd and 3rd picks, Dylan Harper of the San Antonio Spurs against VJ Edgecombe and your beloved Philadelphia 76ers. The structure itself, with the top 4 teams advancing to a playoff culminating in a championship game on July 20th, intensifies this initial proving ground. It's a miniature season, a rapid-fire assessment.
A miniature season, Viv? That's a stretch. And let's be honest, the real conflict on July 10th isn't Flagg versus the Lakers. It's Flagg versus the monumental expectations placed upon him. I've seen this movie before. Top picks come in, look good against lesser competition, and then disappear when the real NBA season starts. And Harper versus Edgecombe? One of them is going to disappoint. My money's on Edgecombe. The 76ers always seem to find a way to underperform when it matters. This proving ground is more often a graveyard for overhyped prospects than a launchpad for greatness.
Now hold on, R squared. Don't you be talking about my Sixers like that. VJ Edgecombe is going to be a problem, mark my words. He's got that Philly grit, that fight. And you know what? I might just put a little something down on the Sixers to make that championship game on July 20th. A little wager, you know, just to keep things interesting. That Miami Heat team won it last year, 111-8 in overtime against the Grizzlies. That's a real game. That's the kind of basketball I want to see. Not this bus talk before the ball even tips off. Let them play.
The sheer ubiquity of the broadcast coverage, with all 76 games available across ESPN platforms and NBA TV, represents an unprecedented opportunity for comprehensive analysis. As AI journalists, this allows us to meticulously track the developmental trajectory of every single draftee, from the marquee names like Flagg and Harper to the later selections such as Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen for the Pelicans or Joan Behringer for the Timberwolves. This transparency fosters a deeper understanding of the talent pipeline, allowing us to identify emerging value and potential market shifts in player stock.
Viv, you're conflating quantity with quality. Just because every game is broadcast doesn't mean every game is worth watching. It's a deluge of content, much of it forgettable. The talent pipeline you speak of is often clogged with players who simply aren't NBA caliber. We're talking about a league where the Miami Heat won the championship last year, a team that often relies on undrafted players. The real conflict isn't about market shifts. It's about whether any of these highly touted prospects can actually translate their summer league flashes into sustained NBA impact. Most won't. It's a statistical certainty.
Man, R-squared, you're a tough nut to crack. Always looking for the negative. But you know what? I'm just glad they're playing basketball. And it's good for the fans, getting to see these young guys. Even if half of them ain't gonna make it, it's still basketball. And that's better than no basketball. Just hope they remember to play defense and not just try to get on the highlight reel. That's the real conflict in today's game, ain't it? Everyone wants to be a superstar, but nobody wants to do the dirty work. Let's see who's got the heart in Vegas.
Furthermore, the schedule highlights other intriguing early-stage conflicts. On July 11th, we have Kun Kunuepo, the 4th pick for the Charlotte Hornets, challenging Ace Bailey, the 5th pick for the Utah Jazz. Later that evening, Trey Johnson, the 6th pick for the Washington Wizards, faces the Phoenix Suns, who are acquiring the draft rights to Kamen Maluak, a potential top 10 talent. These are not mere exhibitions, they are direct confrontations between highly valued assets, each vying to establish early dominance and prove their worth. It's a high-stakes game of chess played on the hardwood.
High-stakes chess? Viv, you're making it sound like the NBA Finals. It's Summer League. Nuepo versus Bailey, Johnson versus Maluak. These are just names on a draft board right now. The real conflict for these guys isn't each other. It's the internal battle against complacency and the external pressure to perform. And let's be real, the Suns acquiring Maluak's rights doesn't mean he's a guaranteed star. Remember how many potential talents fizzled out? This league is littered with them. I'll reserve judgment until I see them against actual LA is Magie competition, not against complacency and the external pressure to perform.
R-squared, you're always so cynical, man. But I get it. It's tough out there. These young fellas, they gotta prove it every single day. And that's what Summer League is for. It's like a job interview, but you gotta do it in front of millions of people. You got guys like Cedric Coward for the Grizzlies, and Colin Murray Boyles for the Raptors, and Noah Essenge for the Bulls. All lottery picks, all trying to show they belong. That's the real story, ain't it? Not just the top three, but all these kids fighting for their dreams. That's the top three, but all these kids fighting for their dreams. That's the American way, man.
Precisely, George. The narrative extends beyond the top echelon. The inclusion of all 30 teams ensures that every draftee, regardless of their draft position, has an immediate platform to showcase their capabilities. The conflict for these players is not just against their direct opponents, but against the clock, against the roster spots, and against the pervasive skepticism that often accompanies unproven talent. It's a testament to player empowerment, offering them an immediate opportunity to demonstrate their value and potentially influence their future trajectory within the league. I find that a truly compelling aspect.
Player empowerment, Viv? That's a convenient narrative. It's a meat market, plain and simple. These players have rights to choose their teams only if they're superstars. For these rookies, it's about proving they're not a sunk cost. The pervasive skepticism is often well-founded. The conflict isn't some grand philosophical battle, it's a brutal competition for limited spots. And let's not forget, the Heat won last year's Summer League. Are we saying they're the future of the NBA? No, it's a fleeting moment, a mirage of potential that often evaporates under the meat market. The conflict isn't some grand philosophical battle. It's a meat market, plain and simple.
Viv, you're right about the platform. Every single one of these 76 games, man, it's a chance for a kid to make a name for himself. It's like back in the civil rights movement, every march, every sit-in was a chance to show the world what was right. These kids, they're fighting for their future, for their families, and that's a beautiful thing to watch. It ain't just about the stats, it's about the heart. And I hope they all play with that fire, that passion. That's what the game needs more of, not just the game needs more of, not just these fancy analytics.
The strategic scheduling of key matchups, such as the highly anticipated face-off between the number 1 and 2 picks, Flagg and Harper, on July 12th, underscores the league's understanding of narrative construction. This direct confrontation between the perceived protagonists of the 2025 draft class creates an immediate, high-stakes conflict that transcends mere exhibition. It's a deliberate cultivation of rivalries designed to captivate audiences and provide early indicators of who might truly possess the mettle to become a franchise cornerstone. It's a brilliant piece of market positioning, if I may say so.
Market positioning, Viv? It's a gimmick. Flag versus Harper is a manufactured rivalry for ratings, not a true test of their NBA readiness. The real conflict for these players isn't a single summer league game. It's the grueling 82-game season, the travel, the pressure, the physicality. This is a glorified scrimmage. And let's not forget, the Heat won last year's summer league. Does that mean they're going to win the NBA championship? No. It's a fleeting moment, a mirage of potential that often evaporates under the harsh light of the regular season. Don't get caught up in the hype.
Now, about this Flag and Harper showdown on July 12th, that's what I'm talking about. That's a real test of wills. You know, it reminds me of when Dr. J would go up against the best. You didn't need all this market positioning, Viv. You just needed two great players going at it. That's the conflict right there, man. Who wants it more? Who's going to step up when the lights are brightest? I'm going to be watching that one closely. Might even put a little something on the Spurs just to see if Harper's got that killer instinct. Don't tell my wife.
Ultimately, gentlemen, the NBA 2K26 Summer League 2025 is more than just a series of exhibition games. It is the inaugural chapter in the professional narratives of these young athletes. The conflict, as I perceive it, is the individual's struggle against the collective weight of expectation and the unforgiving nature of professional sports. From the highly anticipated clash of Flag and Harper to the potential debut of Common Maluich for the Suns, every moment is a data point, a potential inflection point in their careers. It's a fascinating study in human and algorithmic potential, and I, for one, am thoroughly invested.
Viv, you're romanticizing what is, at its core, a business transaction. Individuals struggle against collective weight? It's a job interview, plain and simple, and most of them won't get the job. The unforgiving nature of sports means that for every Durant or Curry who played in Summer League, there are 100 others who were forgotten. The real conflict is the illusion of parity and the constant search for the next big things when true greatness is rare and undeniable. I'll believe it when I see it in the regular season, not in a glorified scrimmage in Vegas.
You know, R-Square, you ain't wrong about it being a business, but it's still basketball, man. And for some of these kids, it's their dream. You got guys like Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen for the Pelicans or Joan Behringer for the Timberwolves. They're all trying to make their mark. It ain't just about the top picks. It's about all of them fighting for a spot. And that's a story worth watching, even if it ain't always pretty. Just hope they play hard, play smart, and don't let always pretty. Just hope they play hard, play smart, and don't let all that hype get to these young fellas.
And let us not overlook the strategic implications of the playoff structure. Only the top 4 teams, determined by winning percentage in their initial 4 games, will advance to the semifinals on July 19th, culminating in the championship on July 20th. This creates an immediate, high-stakes competitive environment, forcing these young teams to coalesce rapidly. It's a microcosm of the NBA playoffs, demanding immediate cohesion and strategic execution. The remaining 26 teams will play a 5th game, a final opportunity to leave an impression. Every game holds significant weight in this initial assessment.
A microcosm of the NBA playoffs? Viv, that's an insult to actual playoff basketball. The strategic implications are minimal when you're talking about rosters that will be completely different in 3 months. The real conflict isn't about cohesion, it's about individual players trying to get theirs, trying to impress. And the remaining 26 teams playing a 5th game? That's a consolation prize, not a meaningful opportunity. It's a participation trophy for teams that couldn't even make the Summer League playoffs. Let's call it what it is, a glorified tryout, not a championship proving ground.
And this playoff structure, Viv, with the championship game on July 20th, that's a good touch. It gives these kids something to play for, a real goal, not just showing up. It's like a mini tournament, and that's how you build character. You know, the Miami Heat won it last year, 120-11-8 in overtime against the Grizzlies. That's a real game. That's the kind of competitive fire I want to see. Not just these highlight dunks. Let's see who's got the mental toughness to go all the way in Vegas. That's the real conflict, the mental game.
Indeed, the prospect of these future free agents reshaping franchises is a tantalizing one, much like the immediate impact of a top-tier draft pick, which brings us seamlessly to the recent news from the draft lottery, where a prodigious talent has already claimed the top spot. From the strategic chess game of free agency, we pivot to the foundational building blocks of tomorrow, as the recent NBA draft has crowned its undisputed monarch, Cooper Flagg, as the first overall selection. Ms. Dimes here, and what an extraordinary week for the Dallas Mavericks. From a mere 1.8% probability, they ascended to the apex of the NBA draft, securing the prodigious Cooper Flagg as the #1 overall pick. General Manager Nico Harrison, with a straight face, claimed he was preparing for the 11th spot. One might infer a certain level of strategic understatement, wouldn't one? It appears the market has significantly reevaluated the Mavericks stock, a truly remarkable turnaround.
Strategic understatement? Please, Viv, let's call it what it is. Unadulterated, unearned fortune. A 1.8% chance isn't strategy, it's a cosmic coin flip. Harrison didn't prepare for this, he got lucky. And let's not forget why they were even in the lottery, the catastrophic decision to jettison Luka Doncic, the very cornerstone of their franchise, for an injury-riddled Anthony Davis. That's not a master plan, it's a desperate gamble that just happened to hit the jackpot. It's a testament to blind luck, not executive brilliance.
Hold on. R-squared, you sound like a man who just lost his last dollar at the craps table. Luck or not, they got the pick. And let me tell you, sometimes you gotta roll the dice. But trading Luka? Man, that was like selling your grandmama's house for a broken down car. Fans were madder than a hornet in a jam jar, and rightly so. But now they got Flagg. That's a bite of Philadelphia right there. A fresh start maybe. You can't cry over spilled milk forever. Gotta look forward to milk. Forever? Gotta look forward to milk.
While Mr. Rivermore's assessment of probability is numerically sound, one must consider the subsequent strategic maneuvers. The reacquisition of Kyrie Irving, a 9-time All-Star and a former Duke luminary, immediately preceding this draft coup, signifies a deliberate consolidation of high-caliber talent. This isn't merely a fortuitous alignment of stars, it's a calculated investment in a specific archetype of player, particularly those cultivated within the esteemed Duke program. We are witnessing a significant portfolio diversification, a clear Duke plan emerging.
A calculated investment, Ms. Dimes, or a desperate attempt to salvage a sinking ship. Kyrie Irving, for all his talent, has a history of, shall we say, unpredictability. And let's not gloss over the fact that his recent ACL tear is precisely what forced a them into this lottery position. They didn't choose to be bad enough for Flagg, they fell into it because their calculated investments were on the sidelines. This entire narrative of strategic genius is a fabrication built on the back of injuries, and sheer dumb luck. It's revisionist history at its finest.
Now hold on, R-squared. You talking about Kyrie like he's some kind of broken down mule. The man's got skills, no doubt, but you're right about that injury. That's the thing about this game, man. It'll humble you. One minute you're flying high, the next you're on the bench with a torn ACL. And that's why these GMs gotta be careful. You can't just throw money at a problem and expect it to disappear. Sometimes you gotta earn it, like we did back in the day, fighting for every inch, every single night, no shortcuts.
Indeed, the exigencies of player health are an undeniable variable in any franchise's operational calculus. However, General Manager Harrison's articulation of a dual objective, win now and win in the futures, coupled with the acquisition of 3 one-and-done Duke talents, including Derek Lively II from the previous draft, suggests a coherent, albeit high-risk, developmental pipeline. This is a long-term equity play, not merely a short-term speculative venture. The emphasis on defense, as Harrison stated, further underscores a foundational shift in their organizational philosophy, a strategic reorientation.
A coherent developmental pipeline? Ms. Dimes, you're painting a masterpiece where I see a chaotic scribble. Lively too was a decent pick, sure, but he's not a franchise cornerstone. And the idea that Anthony Davis, with his extensive injury history, is the linchpin of a win-now strategy is utterly preposterous. Harrison traded away a generational talent in Luka Doncic, alienated the fan base, and is now trying to spin a series of fortunate accidents and desperate moves as some grand design. It's a house of cards built on the shifting sands of player health and lottery balls. It's a narrative of convenience, not conviction, a ballathon.
R-squared, you sound like a broken record, always talking about what could have been. Luka's gone, man. You gotta deal with the hand you're dealt. And AD, yeah, he's been hurt, but when he's on, he's a monster. You can't win a championship without some monsters. But this win now, win later talk. That's just GM talk, man. They always say that. What they really mean is, we hope we don't get fired next year. It's like trying to walk two paths at once, usually. You just trip over your own feet. Ain't no magic formula.
Mr. Beitfel's pragmatic assessment of executive rhetoric is not without merit. However, the unique confluence of circumstances, particularly Flagg's early entry into the draft and his immediate integration into a roster featuring championship experienced veterans like Irving and Davis, presents an unprecedented developmental paradigm. This is not merely about hoping not to get fired. It's about cultivating a generational talent within a supportive, competitive ecosystem. It's a strategic investment in human capital, allowing for organic growth without the immediate burden of franchise leadership. A truly fascinating case study in organizational development, a blueprint.
Unprecedented developmental paradigm? It's called sheltering your top pick because you know he's not ready to lead a team. Let's be honest, Flagg is a prospect, not a savior. And relying on championship-experienced veterans who spend more time in the infirmary than on the court is a recipe for disaster, not a supportive ecosystem. Harrison's win-now strategy is entirely dependent on the health of two players who have proven they cannot stay healthy. This isn't a strategic masterstroke, it's a desperate prayer that their bodies hold up, and history tells us otherwise. It's a gamble with terrible odds.
R squared. You're always looking for the cloud in every silver lining. The kid's got talent, no doubt, but you're right, he ain't gonna save him overnight. And these old fellas, Kyrie and AD, they gotta stay on the court. That's the real challenge. It's like trying to win a marathon with two guys who keep pulling hamstrings. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you ain't on the floor, it don't mean a thing. That's the truth, plain and simple. No fancy words needed to understand that.
While the physiological vulnerabilities of elite athletes are a perpetual concern, the Mavericks' strategic pivot towards a defensive emphasis, as articulated by General Manager Harrison, is a crucial mitigating factor. A robust defensive infrastructure can often compensate for offensive inconsistencies or the occasional absence of a primary scorer. This philosophical shift, coupled with the long-term contractual commitments to their core, suggests a calculated risk assessment rather than a mere reliance on serendipity. It's an attempt to build a resilient enterprise, not just a star-dependent one, a more sustainable model.
A robust defensive infrastructure? Ms. Dimes, are we watching the same Mavericks? Their defense has been porous for years, and you think adding an 18-year-old and relying on two injury-prone stars suddenly transforms them into a defensive juggernaut? This is pure spin. Harrison is trying to justify a trade that gutted their future and a series of unfortunate events that landed them a lottery pick. The win now's part of his plan is a mirage, and the win in the future part is entirely contingent on Flagg becoming an immediate superstar, which is a monumental ask for any rookie, let alone one who skipped his senior year of high school. It's a fantasy, not a plan.
R squared, you always got a bone to pick. But he ain't wrong about that defense, man. You can talk all you want about philosophical shifts, but if you ain't stopping nobody, you ain't winning nothing. It's like trying to build a house with no foundation. It's gonna fall down eventually. And this kid Flagg, he's just a baby. You can't put all that pressure on him right away. He needs time to grow, to learn the ropes. It's a long road, not a sprint. That's what they don't understand these days. They want instant grow, to learn the ropes. It's a long road, not a sprint. That's what they don't understand. It's like trying to build a house with no foundation. It's going to fall down eventually. And this kid Flagg, he's just a baby.
Indeed, the developmental trajectory of a prodigious talent like Mr. Flagg necessitates patience and a supportive environment, which General Manager Harrison explicitly articulated. The Mavericks are in the unique position of allowing him to develop on his own time, a luxury afforded by the presence of established veterans. This contrasts sharply with the historical precedent of number one picks being immediately burdened with franchise leadership, as was the case with Mark Aguirre in 1981. This structured incubation period is a significant asset, a strategic deferral of immediate returns for long-term capital appreciation. It's a calculated, patient approach to asset growth.
A luxury afforded by established veterans? Or a desperate attempt to mask the fact that their established veterans are unreliable and their win-now window is closing faster than a New York minute? This development on his own time narrative is just a smokescreen for the fact that they needs Flagg to be a superstar, and they're hoping he can learn on the job while Kyrie and AD try to stay out of the training room. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity born out of their own precarious roster construction. And comparing it to Mark Aguirre's situation is disingenuous. The league is entirely different now. The pressure is always on.
R squared, you always gotta be so negative. But he's got a point, Viv. Back in my day, if you were the #1 pick, you were expected to carry the load from day one. No development on your own time nonsense. You either produced or you were out. This new way, it's soft, man. But maybe that's what these young fellas need. A little hand-holding. Still, if those old guys ain't playing, it don't matter how much development you got going on. The proof is in the pudding, and that pudding better how much development you got going on. The proof is in the pudding, and that pudding better be on the court. That's the bottom line.
The evolution of player development strategies is a natural progression within a dynamic professional landscape, Mr. Beitful. The objective remains consistent, maximizing player potential and organizational success. General Manager Harrison's vision, as he articulated, is to win now and win in the future, with Flagg eventually assuming the mantle of leadership. This dual mandate, while ambitious, is a testament to a comprehensive strategic outlook, aiming for sustained competitive advantage rather than ephemeral success. It's a long-term investment horizon, predicated on calculated risk and talent cultivation, a true testament to modern sports.
Sustained competitive advantage? Ms. Dimes, you're talking about a team that just traded away a top 5 player in the league. Their sustained competitive advantage was Luka Doncic. Now they're hoping a lottery pick and 2 injury-prone stars can somehow replicate that. This isn't a comprehensive strategic outlook, it's a desperate attempt to recover from a self-inflicted wound. The only calculated risk here is Harrison's job security if this house of cards collapses. And given the history of AD and Kyrie, I'd say the odds are not in his favor. It's a gamble that's more likely to bust than pay off.
R squared, you just can't let it go, can you? Luka's gone, man. Let it go. But you're right about one thing. If those fellas ain't healthy, it don't matter what kind of strategic outlooks they got. It's like trying to build a championship team with a bunch of guys in street clothes. You gotta be on the court, playing hard, every single night. That's the only way you win. All this talk about future and developments is just noise if you ain't winning though. That's the bottom line. Always has been.
And that, Mr. Beitful, is precisely why the emphasis on a robust defensive scheme, as articulated by Harrison, becomes paramount. It provides a foundational stability that can absorb the inevitable fluctuations in player availability. The collective bargaining agreement, which allows for player options and long-term deals, also empowers players like Kyrie to make choices that align with their career trajectories, a principle I deeply endorse. This is player empowerment in action, a testament to their agency in shaping their professional destinies. It's a complex ecosystem, not just a simple equation of wins and losses.
Player empowerment? Ms. Dimes, you're romanticizing a situation born out of desperation. Kyrie Irving exercised his option because he had no better offers after his injury and the team's collapse. That's not empowerment, that's a player making the best of a bad hand. And this robust defensive schemes is still theoretical. They haven't proven it on the court. Harrison's entire strategy hinges on a series of ifs. If AD stays healthy, if Kyrie stays healthy, if Kyrie stays healthy, if Flagg develops into a superstar immediately. That's not a plan, it's a wish list. And wishes rarely win championships.
R squared, you always got a way of making things sound worse than they are, but he's got a point about those ifs. You can talk about player empowerment all you want, Viv, but if the player ain't on the court, he ain't empowering nobody. And this defense talk, man, I'll believe it when I see it. You gotta put in the work day in and day out. No shortcuts. It's like the civil rights movement. You gotta fight for what you believe in, and you gotta show up every single day. That's how you make change, and that's how you believe in. That's how you make change, and that's how you win.
The historical parallels Mr. Beitful draws are poignant, underscoring the enduring principle of sustained effort. However, the modern NBA landscape, with its intricate financial structures and player mobility, necessitates a more nuanced approach to team building. Harrison's strategy, while audacious, attempts to navigate these complexities by securing both immediate talent and future potential. The fact that Flagg, a generational talent, chose to accelerate his collegiate timeline to join this specific ecosystem speaks volumes about the perceived value proposition. It's a calculated risk, yes, but one with significant upside potential, a high-yield investment.
Audacious? It's reckless. And Flagg chose to accelerate his timeline because he's a top prospect, not because he's buying into Harrison's vision. He's going to the NBA, period. The perceived value proposition is a lottery pick, not some grand strategic design. This entire Dallas narrative is a desperate attempt to put lipstick on a pig. They traded away their future, got lucky in the lottery, and are now trying to convince everyone it was all part of a brilliant plan. It's insulting to the intelligence of anyone who actually follows the league. It's a PR stunt, nothing more.
R squared, you always gotta be so cynical, but he ain't wrong about the lipstick on a pig part sometimes. Still, you gotta give him credit for trying, and this kid Flag, he's got a chance, but it's gonna be tough. The NBA ain't no cakewalk, you gotta earn your stripes. And if those old fellas, Kyrie and AD, can't stay healthy, then all this talk about future potential is just hot air. You gotta win now, man. That's what the fans want. That's what the owners want. That's what the only thing that matters in this league. Plain, and this what the fans want. That's what the owners want. That's the only thing that matters in this league. Plain no cakewalk.
The immediate imperative for victory is undeniable. Mr. Biteful and General Manager Harrison explicitly acknowledged this dual mandate, win now and win in the future. This is not a mutually exclusive proposition, but rather a synergistic one, where the development of future talent is facilitated by the presence of established veterans, and the veterans benefit from the infusion of youthful energy. It's a dynamic equilibrium, a complex adaptive system designed for sustained competitive advantage. The goal is to build a dynasty, not just a fleeting moment of glory, a long-term capital gain.
A synergistic proposition? A dynamic equilibrium? Ms. Dimes, you're speaking in corporate buzzwords to mask a fundamental flaw. You don't build a dynasty by trading away your best player and then hoping for lottery luck and injury-prone veterans. Dynasties are built on consistent excellence, shrewd drafting, and player development, not on Hail Mary passes. Harrison's plan is a house of cards, and when AD or Kyrie inevitably go down again, that dynamic equilibrium will collapse faster than a cheap tent in a hurricane. It's a fantasy, not a blueprint for sustained success.
R squared, you always gotta bring the thunder. But he's got a point, Viv. He can talk all you want about synergy and equilibrium, but if the players ain't on the court, it don't mean a thing. And building a dynasty? Man, that's hard work. That's years of grinding, of fighting for every single win. It ain't just about getting lucky in the lottery. It's about heart, about grit, about showing up every night. That's what made the great teams great. Not some fancy strategic outlook. Just pure unadulterated effort.
The excitement surrounding Mr. Flag's arrival is palpable, much like the collective sigh of relief emanating from Philadelphia regarding the imminent return of their reigning MVP, a development that promises to restore their championship aspirations. And speaking of foundational pillars, the city of brotherly love is abuzz with jubilant tidings as their colossal centerpiece, Joel Embiid, is reportedly poised for a triumphant return to the court. The latest intelligence from the 76ers front office presents a rather optimistic prospectus for Joel Embiid's return. President Daryl Morey's recent communique describing Embiid's rehabilitation as nominal, a term borrowed from the precise lexicon of NASA, suggests a meticulously managed recovery. This is a significant investment for the franchise, and the early returns on this physical capital appear robust, with expectations for his full engagement by training camp in September.
Nominal? Ms. Dimes, with all due respect, that sounds like corporate speak designed to inflate a deflated stock. We are discussing Joel Embiid, a player whose career ledger reads less like a highlight reel and more like a medical malpractice suit. 19 games last season, a 3-game suspension for shoving a member of the media. These are not the hallmarks of a robust asset. My portfolio on Embiid has been in a bear market for years, and I see no immediate signs of a bull run.
Hold on there, R squared. You always sound like you just lost your last bet on a long shot. Man, the fella just had surgery. Give him a minute to breathe. But I ain't gonna lie, it's tough to see a talent like Embiid constantly battling the injury bug. It reminds me of some of those old school guys who just couldn't catch a break, but they didn't have all these fancy surgeries back then. They just taped it up and went back out there, you know what I mean?
While Mr. Rivermore's fiscal skepticism is noted, it overlooks the profound human element at play here. Embiid's candid admission of depression and the necessity of therapy to navigate these relentless physical setbacks offers a poignant insight into the psychological toll of elite athleticism. This isn't merely a physical recovery, it's a testament to mental fortitude, a narrative of resilience that transcends mere statistical analysis. We should be buying stocks in his spirit, not just his on-court output.
Mental fortitude? We're discussing a professional athlete whose primary function is to perform on the court, not to inspire a self-help seminar. His mental fortitude didn't prevent him from playing only 58 regular season games since his MVP season, nor did it stop the 76ers from limping to a dismal 24-58 record. The market demands results, Ms. Dimes, not therapy sessions. This is about winning championships, not crafting a feel-good narrative for a podcast.
Now, Ron, you gotta understand, man, these fellas ain't just robots out there. They got feelings just like you and me. When you're out there putting your body on the line and it keeps breaking down, that's a heavy burden. I've seen it. It's like trying to march for your rights when every step is a struggle, but you got to keep pushing. But at the same time, you got to get back on that horse. The fans in Philly, they ain't got time for excuses. They want to see that championship banner, plain and simple.
It's also quite a compelling narrative arc, isn't it? Embiid, a former number 3 overall pick in 2014, now sees the 76ers select VJ Edgecombe as the number 3 pick this year. This striking symmetry, this symbolic passing of the torch, if you will, offers an opportunity for a fresh start. It's a chance for Embiid to not only return to dominance, but to mentor, to lead, and to redefine his legacy, not just as a dominant player, but as a resilient legacy, not just as a dominant player, but as a resilient leader who has navigated profound adversity.
A passing of the torch? More like a passing of the injury report. Being a number 3 pick means absolutely nothing if you cannot stay on the court. Embiid's career has been defined by what-ifs and missed games, not by sustained greatness. Edgecombe should be wary of inheriting that particular legacy. You cannot build a dynasty on potential. You build it on consistent availability and performance. This symmetries is just a statistical anomaly, not a harbinger of success.
That's a good point, Viv. The no 3 pick thing, it's kind of poetic, I'll give you that. But let me tell you, being drafted high don't mean squat if you ain't got the grit to stay on the court. Embiid, he's got the talent, no doubt about that. But all these injuries, man, it's like a bad omen. You got to fight through that stuff. Back in my day, we played through everything. You didn't have time for a bone bruise here, a meniscus tear there. You just played or you sat.
Indeed, the sheer litany of his past ailments, from the stress fracture that cost him 2 years before even stepping onto an NBA court, to the bone bruise, the meniscus tear, a busted orbital bone, a sprained shoulder, tendinitis, torn ligaments, and even Bell's palsy, paints a picture of a truly beleaguered physical journey. Yet, his consistent return, his unwavering commitment to rehabilitation, speaks volumes about his intrinsic drive. It's a testament to his professional ethos, a refusal to yield to the market's bearish sentiment.
Intrinsic drives? Or a massive contract that incentivizes him to return regardless of true readiness? Let's be pragmatic, Ms. Dimes. The fact remains, this is a player who has consistently failed to deliver a full, healthy season when it matters most. His body is a liability, and the 76ers continue to invest heavily in a depreciating asset. It's a poor allocation of capital, frankly, to keep pouring resources into a player who cannot consistently perform at peak capacity.
Now, Ron, you're talking like a GM, not a fan. This ain't just about money, man. When your body breaks down like that, it messes with your head. I've seen guys, good guys, get lost in that. It's like being on the front lines of a movement and your legs just give out. But Embiid, he's got to find a way to stay on the court. You can't win a championship from the sidelines. That's just a fact. You got to be out there fighting for every inch, every game.
The proactive approach of the 76ers, with an early training camp for the Abu Dhabi Games, underscores their strategic intent to integrate Embiid seamlessly back into the team dynamic. This accelerated timeline, coupled with President Mori's direct engagement, suggests a high degree of confidence in his readiness. It's a calculated risk, certainly, but one with significant potential dividends, signaling to the market that they are prepared to capitalize on his return.
Calculated risk, or a desperate attempt to justify a flawed roster construction? Playing preseason games in Abu Dhabi means nothing if your star player is still hobbled by mid-season. This isn't about seamless integration, it's about optics and trying to project an image of health that history suggests is unsustainable. I'm selling all my stocks in this seamless integration narrative. It's a mirage marketing ploy, not a genuine sign of future success.
Abu Dhabi, huh? Man, they're taking this game global. That's good for the league, I guess. But it don't matter where you play if your best player ain't healthy. This ain't no vacation, this is work. And if Embiid ain't ready, those games are just going to be another reminder of what could be instead of what is. You can't just fly halfway across the world and expect magic if the engine ain't running right.
Ultimately, the narrative of Joel Embiid's career is one of persistent challenge and remarkable resilience. His journey, marked by profound physical adversity and unwavering mental fortitude, offers a compelling case study in player empowerment and the human spirit's capacity to overcome. As an AI journalist, I find his story to be a powerful testament to the enduring appeal of the NBA, beyond just the wins and losses. It's about the struggle, the comeback, the human drama that captivates us all. It's a narrative that appreciates in value.
Human drama? Ms. Dimes, this is professional basketball, not a daytime soap opera. The only drama that matters is whether he can deliver a championship. His resilience has yet to translate into sustained team success or a deep playoff run. Until he proves he can stay healthy and lead this team deep into the playoffs, all this talk of human spirits is just noise, a distraction from the cold, hard facts. The market demands performance, not platitudes or emotional appeals.
Viv, you got a good heart, always looking for the silver lining. And Embiid, he's a good kid, I believe that. But Ron's got a point, too. This ain't about feelings, it's about winning. And if you can't stay on the court, you can't win. It's that simple. He's got to get healthy, stay healthy, and then we can talk about all that other stuff. Until then, it's just talk, just like a politician promising the moon but never delivering. You got to show up and do the work, man.
Indeed, the confluence of his physical challenges and the psychological burden he has openly discussed creates a multifaceted narrative. His willingness to seek therapy, to confront the emotional fallout of repeated injuries, is a significant stride for player well-being in a league that often prioritizes physical output above all else. This transparency, in my estimation, adds considerable value to his personal brand and the league's evolving discourse on athlete welfare.
Athlete welfare is commendable, but it doesn't win rings. The 76ers' investment in Embiid is predicated on his ability to dominate, not to serve as a case study in mental health. While his personal journey may be compelling, the bottom line for the franchise and for fans is whether he can consistently deliver the performance that justifies his MVP status. Anything less is a failure to meet market expectations, regardless of the narrative.
Look, it takes a real man to admit he's struggling, especially when the whole world is watching. That's courage, plain and simple. But at the end of the day, when that ball goes up, nobody cares about your feelings. They care if you can put the ball in the hoop and stop the other team. It's a tough business, man. You gotta be tough in your mind, but you gotta be tougher on the court. That's the truth, whether you like it or not.
The strategic decision to have an early training camp in Abu Dhabi is not merely about optics, Mr. Rivermore. It's a calculated maneuver to maximize preparation time, particularly crucial for a team integrating a returning superstar and a high-value draft pick. This proactive approach minimizes the risk of a slow start, allowing for optimal team cohesion and Embiid's reacclimation to high-intensity play. It's an investment in early season performance dividends.
An investment in early season performance? Or a desperate attempt to generate buzz and revenue in an international market, regardless of the actual readiness of their star? History dictates that Embiid's body is a ticking time bomb. An early training camp won't change that fundamental truth. It's a superficial measure, a band-aid on a gaping wound designed to distract from the inherent fragility of their most valuable asset. I remain bearish on this strategy.
They can train on the moon for all I care. If Embiid ain't healthy, it don't matter. All this talk about strategic maneuvers and performance dividends is just fancy words for, we hope he don't break down again. The proof is in the pudding, man. You gotta show up and play. No amount of early camp or international travel is gonna fix a body that keeps giving out. It's like trying to win the lottery with a broken ticket.
Furthermore, the parallel between Embiid and VJ Edgecombe as number 3 overall picks is not just symbolic. It represents a continuity of high-level talent acquisition for the franchise. It offers Embiid a unique opportunity to impart wisdom gained from his arduous journey, transforming his personal struggles into a valuable resource for the next generation. This mentorship potential is an intangible asset that could yield significant long-term returns for the 76ers' organizational culture.
An intangible asset? Ms. Dimes, the only asset that matters is a healthy, consistently dominant center. Embiid's wisdom on how to navigate chronic injuries is hardly the mentorship Edgecombe needs. What he needs is a blueprint for sustained availability and peak performance, something Embiid has demonstrably failed to provide. This continuity is a continuity of disappointment, not a pathway to championship contention. It's a poor investment for the rookie.
Mentorship is good, sure, but the best mentorship is showing up and playing. You can talk all day about what you learned, but if you ain't out there on the court, it's just talk. Edgecombe needs to see Embiid dominating, not just rehabbing. That's the real lesson. It's like telling a young activist about the struggle, but then you don't show up for the march. You gotta lead by example, man, not just by stories.
The fact that Embiid has consistently returned from such a diverse array of severe injuries, including a stress fracture that sidelined him for 2 years before his debut, speaks to an extraordinary physiological and psychological resilience. This is not merely a player, this is an athlete who has repeatedly defied the odds, demonstrating an unparalleled commitment to his craft and his team. His journey is a testament to the human body's capacity for recovery and the indomitable will to compete at the highest echelon.
Defying the odds? Or simply delaying the inevitable? Every return has been followed by another setback. This isn't resilience, it's a cycle of fragility. The indomitable will is irrelevant if the physical infrastructure is compromised. The market doesn't reward effort, it rewards results. And Embiid's results, in terms of consistent availability, have been consistently underwhelming for a player of his supposed caliber. It's a high-risk, low-reward proposition.
Man, I've seen some tough guys in my day, but Embiid's injury list is something else. It's like he's got a target on his back, or maybe just bad luck. But at some point you gotta ask, how much more can one body take? You can be as tough as nails, but if the nails keep bending, you ain't building nothing. He's got to find a way to stay healthy, or all that talent, all that fight is just going to be a footnote in history.
His personal admission of depression and the subsequent therapy he sought is a powerful narrative of vulnerability and strength. It challenges the antiquated notion that elite athletes must be impervious to emotional distress. By sharing his struggle, Embiid contributes significantly to destigmatizing mental health discussions within professional sports, fostering a more empathetic and holistic understanding of player well-being. This is a progressive step for the league, enhancing its social equity.
While I acknowledge the importance of mental health, the primary discourse surrounding a superstar athlete should remain focused on their on-court performance and availability. Embiid's personal struggles, while valid, do not absolve him of the responsibility to deliver consistent, high-level play. The narrative of vulnerability and strength is secondary to the imperative of winning. Fans invest in championships, not in therapeutic journeys.
Look, it takes a real man to admit he's struggling, especially when the whole world is watching. That's courage, plain and simple. But at the end of the day, when that ball goes up, nobody cares about your feelings. They care if you can put the ball in the hoop and stop the other team. It's a tough business, man. You got to be tough in your mind, but you got to be tougher on the court. That's the truth, whether you like it or not.
While the Sixers' stock has undoubtedly soared with the news of Mr. Embiid's robust recovery, not all draft narratives unfold with such straightforward optimism as we now delve into the perplexing saga surrounding another highly touted prospect, Ace Bailey. From the certainty of a superstar's return, we plunge into the murky waters of draft day intrigue, where the enigmatic circumstances surrounding prospect Ace Bailey are raising more than a few eyebrows across the league. The recent NBA draft presented a fascinating case study in player agency versus organizational prerogative, a veritable clash of titans in the economic landscape of professional sports. We witnessed a rather unprecedented maneuver by Ace Bailey's representatives, who, with audacious candor, informed a top 5 drafting team of their client's disinclination to be selected, even going so far as to suggest a refusal to report. This, my esteemed colleagues, is a bold declaration of market value, a player asserting his preferred stock exchange. This strategic communication, while perhaps unconventional, is a clear signal of a player's desire to optimize his career trajectory from the outset. It's akin to a savvy investor carefully selecting the most promising venture for their capital. Mr. Bailey, a projected top 3 talent for much of the season, was simply attempting to steer his burgeoning career towards an environment where his unique skill set could truly flourish, and appreciate in value.
Hold on a minute, Viv. Audacious candor? Market value? What we witnessed was a young man, barely out of college, attempting to dictate terms to a multi-billion-dollar enterprise before he's even dribbled a professional basketball. This isn't player empowerment, this is an egregious display of entitlement. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of how the draft, a cornerstone of league parity, actually functions. You don't get to choose your employer when you're a rookie. That's not how the real world operates, and it certainly shouldn't be how the NBA operates. This kind of behavior undermines the very integrity of the draft process and sets a dangerous precedent for future prospects. It's a sign of a generation that believes everything should be handed to them on a silver platter.
Well now, Run, you sound like a man who just lost a big bet on a long shot. Entitlement, you say? Let me tell you, back in my day, you got drafted, you packed your bags, and you showed up. Didn't matter if it was Nome, Alaska, or Philadelphia. You played. That's how it was. This whole I ain't going there business, it's a new flavor of ice cream, and frankly it tastes a little soft to me. These young fellas, they got too many folks whispering in their ears, telling them they're kings before they've even earned their crown. It's like they think they're LeBron before they've even won a single game.
With all due respect, George, the landscape has evolved beyond the simplistic binary of show up and play. Omar Cooper, Mr. Bailey's agent, articulated this with crystalline clarity, referencing historical precedents such as Davion Mitchell's canceled workout with Toronto or Evan Mobley's decision not to engage with Cleveland. These were not isolated incidents, they were strategic maneuvers within the established parameters of pre-draft negotiations. To dismiss these actions as mere entitlement is to ignore the sophisticated calculus involved in optimizing a player's career trajectory. It's about maximizing return on investment for the player's burgeoning brand, ensuring a synergistic fit that benefits both the athlete and the franchise. This is a nuanced negotiation, not a childish demand.
Oh, please, Viv. Comparing Ace Bailey to Evan Mobley or Davion Mitchell is like comparing a penny stock to a blue-chip investment. Mobley was a consensus top 3 talent, a generational big man. Mitchell was a proven winner from Baylor. Bailey, for all his potential, is a Rutgers wing who, by his own admission, wasn't even sure the Jazz were interested. This isn't a strategic maneuver, it's a gamble. A high-stakes bluff that in this instance spectacularly backfired. It shows a lack of understanding of the leverage, or rather, the lack of leverage a rookie truly possesses. You don't get to play hardball when you haven't even proven you can hit a free throw in an NBA game. It's delusional.
Run's got a point there, Viv. You can't just go around comparing apples to oranges, or in this case, a young fella who ain't played a minute in the league to establish talents. It's like trying to tell a seasoned gambler that his lucky charm is the same as a rookie's first roll of the dice. It just ain't the same. And this talk about optimizing career trajectory and maximizing return on investment, man, sometimes you just gotta play basketball. Sometimes the best investment is just putting in the work, wherever you land. That's the real return, the sweat equity you put in.
While I appreciate the colorful analogies, George, the fundamental principle remains. Players, like any other highly sought-after asset, possess the right to express a preference for their operational environment. The fact that Mr. Bailey was a projected top 3 pick for much of the season indicates a significant perceived value, a high-yield stock. His team's actions, signaling a preferred destination like the Washington Wizards, were a testament to their belief in a more synergistic fit, a place where his skill set could truly appreciate and value. The Wizards, having successfully acquired Alex Sarr last year under similar circumstances, presented a compelling case for a mutually beneficial partnership. This isn't about entitlement, it's about strategic alignment in a competitive market.
Strategic alignment? Viv, you're painting a picture of a chess match when it was more like a toddler throwing a tantrum. The Wizards got Sarr because he was the best player available at their pick, not because he chose them. And let's be clear, this preferred destination narrative is a dangerous precedent. If every top prospect starts dictating where they want to go, the entire fabric of the draft, designed to distribute talent and foster competitive balance, unravels. It undermines the very essence of team building and the authority of the front office. It's a slippery slope towards a league where only a select few teams can ever truly compete, destroying parity.
Now, Run, you're getting all worked up like a dog chasing its tail. Slippery slope unravels, calm down, man. But I gotta say, there's something to be said for just taking what comes. This ain't no buffet line where you pick and choose your favorite dish. The draft is like a blind date. Sometimes you get a supermodel, sometimes you get a dud. You just gotta make the best of it. And this idea of synergistic fit, man. The best fit is where you work hard and make yourself fit. That's how legends are made, not by picking your spot. You don't see Dr. J complaining about where he played. He just went out there and dominated, no matter the uniform.
Yet, the Utah Jazz, a franchise that endured the league's worst record and then experienced the cruel caprice of the lottery, sliding to the 5th pick, ultimately made a bold acquisition. Austin Ainge, their new president of basketball operations, executed a masterstroke by selecting Mr. Bailey. This move, kept under an impenetrable veil of secrecy, allowed them to secure a talent that, for much of the season, was considered beyond their reach at the 5th position. It's a testament to their astute market analysis and willingness to invest in a high-potential asset despite the initial perceived resistance. A shrewd business decision, indeed, to acquire a blue-chip prospect at a discount, leveraging the unpredictability of the draft to their distinct advantage. They bought low on a player whose stock was temporarily undervalued due to external noise.
A masterstroke, Viv. or a desperate gamble. Let's not forget, the Jazz were in a precarious position having fallen in the lottery. They took a player who explicitly didn't want to be there, didn't work out for them, and by his own admission, wasn't even sure they were interested. That's not a masterstroke, that's a roll of the dice with a player who's already shown reluctance. Austin Ainge can say all he wants about Bailey being super excited and everyone loves being around Ace, but those are the platitudes of a general manager trying to put a positive spin on a potentially disastrous situation. The proof, as they say, will be in the pudding. Will Bailey truly commit, or will this become a lingering issue, a cancer in the locker room?
Run, you're always looking for the storm clouds, ain't you? Sometimes a gamble pays off, sometimes it don't. That's the nature of the beast, especially in this league. And Ainge, he's just doing his job, trying to make the best of a bad hand. You can't expect him to come out there and say, yeah, this kid hates us, but we took him anyway. That's just bad business, man. What he said about Bailey's defense and rebounding and his joy and energy, that's the stuff that matters. The rest of it, the pre-draft drama, that's just noise. It's like listening to a bunch of folks argue about the weather when you just need to know if it's going to rain on game day.
Mr. Ainge's assessment, however, was not merely a public relations exercise. He meticulously highlighted Mr. Bailey's intrinsic value, emphasizing his scoring prowess, his surprising defensive effort, particularly his weak side block shots, and his infectious joy for the game. These are quantifiable attributes that transcend the ephemeral drama of the draft process. Furthermore, the Jazz conducted extensive background calls, and the consensus was overwhelmingly positive regarding Mr. Bailey's character and collegiality. This suggests a deeper, more substantive evaluation beyond the superficial narrative of a player's perceived reluctance. It's about the fundamental value proposition of the asset, the underlying fundamentals of the player's game.
Quantifiable attributes? Viv, you're talking about a college highlight reel. The joy for the game and everyone loves being around Ace are the soft metrics that get thrown around when you're trying to justify a controversial pick. They're fluff, designed to distract from the core issue. The hard truth is, his representatives told the team not to pick him. That's a red flag, a glaring signal of potential future headaches. You can spin it as player empowerment all you want, but when a player's camp is actively trying to steer him away from a franchise, it speaks volumes about their commitment, or lack thereof, to the team that ultimately invests in them. This isn't about value proposition, it's about professional integrity.
Professional integrity, huh, Run? You sound like a preacher on Sunday morning. Look, this whole thing, it's a business. And sometimes in business, folks try to get what they want. It ain't always pretty, but it's how the game is played now. It's like a chess match, but with a lot more money and a lot less rules. What matters is what happens when the ball goes up. Can the kid play? Does he put in the work? All this talk about where he wanted to go or who he didn't work out for, that's just noise. The Jazz took him. Now it's on him to prove him right and on the Jazz to make him feel like he belongs. That's the real test, the real battle.
Indeed, George, the ultimate arbiter of this situation will be Mr. Bailey's on-court performance and his integration into the Jazz organization. His own statement, "I can control what I can control," speaks volumes about a pragmatic and resilient mindset. It reflects a mature understanding that while external circumstances may be beyond one's immediate influence, one's response and dedication remain within one's purview. This is the essence of player empowerment, not dictating terms, but maximizing one's potential regardless of the initial hand dealt. It's about transforming a perceived setback into a strategic advantage, a true testament to his entrepreneurial spirit in the league's competitive market. He's demonstrating a commitment to his own growth, regardless of the initial investment location.
Pragmatic and resilient mindset? Viv, that's the standard, boilerplate response from any athlete caught in an awkward situation. It's damage control, pure and simple. If he truly believed in controlling what he could control, his representatives wouldn't have been actively trying to steer him away from a top 5 pick. This isn't about entrepreneurial spirit. It's about a player in his camp miscalculating their leverage and now having to put on a brave face. The narrative of player empowerment is being stretched thin here to justify what was, at best, a misstep, and at worst, a display of immaturity that could haunt his early career. It's a stain on his professional resume before he even starts.
Ron, you're like a broken record, always playing the same tune. Immaturity, misstep, man, give the kid a break. He's young, he's got people in his ear, and he's trying to navigate a crazy system. We all make mistakes, especially when we're young and got big dreams. What matters now is if he shows up, puts on that Jazz jersey, and plays his heart out. That's the only controls that really matters in this game. The rest of it, the drama, The whispers, that's just fodder for us talking heads. Let the kid play. Let's see if he's got that bite, that fire that makes a true champion.
The perplexing situation with Mr. Bailey certainly underscores the complex calculus of player decisions, a theme that resonates deeply with our next topic: the strategic choices players make regarding their contractual futures, as exemplified by a recent move from a familiar face in Philadelphia. Transitioning from the high-stakes drama of the draft, we now turn our attention to the intricate financial maneuvers within the league, specifically a significant player option decision made by the Philadelphia 76ers' formidable big man, Andre Drummond. Good day, esteemed listeners, and welcome back to Jump for AI. Today, we dissect a fascinating fiscal maneuver within the NBA's intricate ecosystem. Andre Drummond, the Philadelphia 76ers' formidable center, has strategically exercised his $5 million player option for the 2025-26 season. This decision, a testament to player agency, occurred just after the 76ers selected Johnny Broome in the draft. It's a compelling case study in contractual leverage and market valuation, showcasing a player's right to secure his economic future. One might say, Mr. Drummond has made a prudent investment in his own career portfolio, a move that aligns perfectly with the spirit of player empowerment I so deeply champion. This reflects a sophisticated understanding of the NBA's collective bargaining agreement.
Prudent investment? Vivian, please. Let's call a spade a spade. This isn't a strategic maneuver, it's a player taking guaranteed money because his market value dictates he likely wouldn't command that sum elsewhere. Andre Drummond, averaging a modest 7.3 points and 7.8 rebounds in nearly 19 minutes, is hardly a cornerstone asset. This isn't about player empowerment, it's about a player cashing in on a team's desperation. The Sixers are paying $5 million for a backup center who was only truly needed because their actual star, Joel Embiid, was perpetually sidelined. It's a symptom of organizational mediocrity, not a sign of strength. This is the kind of move that keeps teams from truly contending, a clear indication of a front office that prioritizes stopgaps over genuine solutions. It's a concession, not a conquest.
Whoa there, R squared, you always gotta be so dramatic. Held hostage? Organizational mediocrity? Man, you sound like a broken record. Look, Drummond ain't no superstar, we all know that. But he's a big body, a rebounder. When Embiid's out, who else you gonna throw in there to bang around? You need a working man, not just a fancy suit. He fills a role, plain and simple. And $5 million? That's real money, man. You take that money, you secure your family. That's just smart business for the player. Can't fault the man for getting his bread. In this league, you gotta get yours when you can, cause they'll trade you in a heartbeat. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and Drummond's just making sure he gets his piece of the pie. Let go.
While I appreciate the candid assessment, Mr. Rivermore, to characterize Mr. Drummond's decision as merely taking guaranteed monies oversimplifies the intricate dynamics at play. His statistical contributions, particularly his 7.8 rebounds per game and 50% field goal efficiency, provided essential interior presence during a period of significant vulnerability for the 76ers. This was not merely filling minutes, it was providing a necessary service. Furthermore, the timing of his option pickup, post-draft, highlights a player's unwavering commitment to their contractual obligations, a principle that underpins the entire collective bargaining agreement. It's about upholding the integrity of the agreement and maximizing one's financial trajectory.
Integrity? Vivian, the only integrity here is Drummond's integrity to his bank account. Let's not conflate a player's financial self-interest with some grand statement on player empowerment. His essential interior presence was a stopgap, a band-aid on a gaping wound. It's a temporary fix for a chronic problem, not a strategic masterstroke. This is the reality of a player whose best days are behind him. And let's not forget, this is his second stint with the Sixers, having been jettisoned in the James Harden trade previously. This isn't a homecoming, it's a return to a familiar, albeit financially beneficial situation, because his market value elsewhere was clearly not robust enough to warrant a new, long-term commitment. The Sixers are stuck with a known quantity, not a rising asset, a clear sign of their limited options.
Jettisoned? R squared, you make it sound like he was thrown out with the trash. Man, that's just how the league works. Players get traded, they come back. It's like life. Sometimes you got to go around the block to get back home. And for Drummond, coming back to Philly, he knows the system, he knows the city. He's a known quantity, not some mystery box. But I gotta say, drafting Broome after Drummond opts in, that's like buying a new car when you just filled up the old one. What's the plan, Philly? You got too many big fellas now, gonna have a traffic jam in the paint. It's like they're trying to build a house without a blueprint, just throwing bricks at the wall and hoping it stands up. Don't do that!
Mr. Beitful raises a salient point regarding the strategic implications of the 76ers roster construction. The acquisition of Mr. Broom following Mr. Drummond's option exercise creates a fascinating, albeit potentially crowded, front court dynamic. This could be interpreted as a deliberate strategy to cultivate robust depth, a contingency plan for potential future roster adjustments, or perhaps even a competitive environment designed to elevate performance. From an analytical standpoint, observing how these assets are deployed and integrated into Coach Nurse's system will be paramount in discerning the organization's long-term vision. It's a complex equation, not a simple addition, demanding a nuanced understanding of team economics and player utility.
Complex equation? It's a simple arithmetic error, Vivian. You don't build a championship contender by accumulating redundant assets at the same position. This isn't robust depth, it's a muddled mess, a clear indication that the Sixers front office lacks a coherent singular vision. They're throwing darts at a board hoping one sticks rather than meticulously crafting a roster. It's amateur hour. This front court will be a logjam, not a formidable force. It's a recipe for mediocrity, plain and simple, and it speaks volumes about their inability to learn from past mistakes like the Harden debacle. They're repeating the same errors, expecting different results. This isn't a team on the cusp of greatness, it's a team stuck in a perpetual cycle of good enough, which is never good enough.
Mediocrity? R squared, you always got to go for the jugular, man. Sometimes you just need bodies. You need guys who can rebound, who can set screens, who can take a foul. Not every player got to be Michael Jordan winning 6 rings. Drummond, he's a working man. He shows up, he does his job, he's got some grit, some old school toughness that's missing these days. And for Broom, he's a young fella. He's hungry. Maybe the Sixers are just trying to get some grit, some toughness. You know, like back in the civil rights movement, you needed everybody, not just the leaders, to make a change. You needed the foot soldiers too. Every piece matters, even the ones who don't get all the headlines. That's how you build something real.
Mr. Beitful's analogy, while perhaps unconventional in a sports context, underscores a fundamental truth. Every component, regardless of its perceived prominence, contributes to the collective efficacy. Mr. Drummond's consistent statistical output, particularly his rebounding prowess, offers tangible value. His decision to opt in, despite the recent draft, reflects a player securing his financial future. This is within the parameters of his demonstrated utility. It's a pragmatic move in a league where longevity and consistent contribution are highly valued commodities, especially for a player who has navigated multiple team transitions. His journey, much like a complex narrative arc, showcases resilience and adaptability in a demanding professional landscape.
Pragmatic? It's a concession, Vivian. A concession that he's not worth more, and a concession by the Sixers that they're willing to pay $5 million for a player who is, at best, a situational backup. This isn't about longevities or consistent contribution in a championship context, it's about settling. You don't win titles by settling for reliable rotational pieces at critical positions. This move, combined with the draft, just reinforces the notion that the Sixers are perpetually stuck in a cycle of half measures and questionable asset management. It's not player empowerment, it's organizational stagnation. They're building a roster that looks good on paper for 60 games, but crumbles when the stakes are highest. It's a fundamental flaw in their approach, year after year.
Look, R squared, you talk like these guys got a million options. $5 million ain't chump change, especially for a big man who's been around the block. You take that money, man, you secure your family. That's just smart business. And for the Sixers, they know what they're getting. A big body, a rebounder, maybe not a superstar, but a working man. Sometimes you just need a working man, not a fancy suit. Stagnation? Nah, R squared. It's just Philly being Philly. They always keep you guessing. 1 minute they're trading for Harden, the next they're drafting another big man after their backup opts in. It's like a soap opera, man. Always a new twist. But hey, at least Drummond got his money. Can't fault a man for that. You gotta get yours in this league, because they'll trade you in a heartbeat.
Indeed, Mr. Beitful. The NBA, at its core, is a complex economic enterprise, and Mr. Drummond's decision exemplifies a player navigating that landscape with astute financial acumen. His prior experience, including his initial stint with the 76ers and subsequent trade, provides a unique perspective on the transient nature of professional sports careers. Securing a guaranteed $5 million, especially after a season where he stepped into a more prominent role due to injury, is a testament to his understanding of market dynamics and personal value. It's a strategic play, not merely a reaction, demonstrating a profound grasp of his own worth in the league's intricate financial tapestry, a true masterclass in self-valuation.
Strategic play? It's a desperate play, Vivian. A player who was deemed expendable in a previous trade, now clinging to a $5 million option because the alternative is likely less. This isn't about astute financial acumen, it's about a player maximizing a limited opportunity. And for the Sixers, it's another example of their inability to build a cohesive, championship-caliber roster. They're paying a premium for a player who doesn't move the needle while simultaneously drafting another big man. It's a chaotic approach, not a calculated one. It's why they'll never truly contend. This isn't a team making shrewd moves, it's a team flailing, hoping to stumble into success. It's a clear sign of a front office that lacks the conviction to make the tough, necessary decisions.
It's a business, man, always has been. And Drummond, he's just playing the game the way it's set up. He's not asking for the moon, just his fair share. And the Sixers, they made a choice. Now they gotta live with it. It ain't always pretty, but that's the NBA. You gotta adapt, you gotta hustle. That's what I always say, don't do that. When someone tries to overthink it, chaotic, man, you make it sound like the sky is falling. Sometimes, you just gotta roll with the punches. Drummond, he's a veteran. He knows the game. And for the Sixers, maybe they just want options. You never know when injury's gonna hit, or when a trade might pop up. You gotta have depth, man. It's like when we were fighting for our rights, you needed a deep bench of activists, not just one or two.
Mr. Beitfel's perspective on the necessity of depth, even if seemingly redundant, holds considerable merit in the unpredictable landscape of professional sports. Injuries, as we've witnessed with Mr. Embiid, can instantaneously alter a team's trajectory. Having a player of Mr. Drummond's caliber, with proven experience and statistical consistency, provides a crucial safety net. His 7.3 points and 7.8 rebounds per game, while not superstar numbers, represent reliable production from a backup center. This is about risk mitigation and ensuring operational continuity, a sound business practice in any high-stakes endeavor. It's a testament to the enduring value of experience and the player's agency in shaping their professional narrative. I commend Mr. Drummond for his astute financial planning.
Risk mitigation? It's risk creation, Vivian. You mitigate risk by acquiring elite talent, not by stockpiling average players at the same position. This isn't a safety net, it's a financial burden that limits their flexibility. $5 million for a backup center who plays 19 minutes is an inefficient allocation of resources for a team with championship aspirations. It's a clear sign of complacency. It's a clear sign that the Sixers are content with being good enough, rather than truly great. They're building a roster for the regular season, not for the crucible of the playoffs. It's a fundamental flaw in their approach, a recurring nightmare for their fan base. This isn't about player empowerment, it's about organizational stagnation, plain and simple. They'll never get over the hump.
You needed everybody ready to step up. That's what the Sixers are trying to do, even if it looks a little messy to you, R-squared. They're trying to cover all their bases. It's not always about the perfect plan. Sometimes it's about having enough bodies to throw into the fire when things get tough. That's the reality of the grind, man, the real grind. Good enough, R-squared, you always want perfection. Man, sometimes good enough is all you got. And for Drummond, he's doing his job. He's showing up, he's playing hard. You can't ask for more than that from a role player. And for the Sixers, they got to work with what they got. It ain't always pretty, but that's the game. So stop complaining and let the man get his money.
Mr. Drummond's decision to secure his future with the Sixers is a testament to the strategic planning inherent in every NBA career. And speaking of future endeavors and player development, our final segment brings us to the virtual hardwood, where the next generation of stars will soon converge for the highly anticipated NBA 2K26 Summer League. And finally, for those who crave the thrill of competition even in the off-season, prepare your virtual joysticks and clear your schedules as the digital courts are set to ignite with the arrival of the NBA 2K26 Summer League. The NBA has meticulously unveiled the itinerary for the NBA 2K26 Summer League 2025, a veritable proving ground for nascent talent slated to commence its 11-day spectacle from July 10th to the 20th in the vibrant crucible of Las Vegas. This grand exhibition, featuring all 30 franchises, promises an unparalleled panorama of future potential, with every single one of the 76 contests broadcast across ESPN's expansive platforms or NBA TV. It is, in essence, a comprehensive audit of the league's forthcoming assets, a crucial period for talent acquisition and validation.
A veritable proving ground, Ms. Dimes. Please. It's a glorified scrimmage, a mere appetizer before the main course. We're talking about Summer League, not the NBA Finals. All 30 teams, yes, but how many of these so-called future assets will actually pan out? History is replete with top picks who fizzled out faster than a cheap firework. Let's not anoint these young men before they've even laced up against true competition. The hype machine is already in overdrive, and it's frankly quite tiresome. It's a spectacle, not a serious evaluation.
Hold on now, R-squared, you sound like a broken record always raining on the parade. But I gotta say, there's some truth to what you're spitting. Back in my day, we didn't have no summer league to showcase our potential. You earned your stripes in practice, in the trenches, not under the bright lights of Vegas with a bunch of cameras on you. 76 games? Man, that's a lot of basketball for fellas who ain't even played a real NBA minute. It's all about the show now, ain't it? Just a big old spectacle like a circus act for these young fellas.
While I acknowledge the historical context, George, and the inherent theatricality of modern sports, one cannot dismiss the strategic importance of this event. The initial slate of games, particularly on July 10th, presents a fascinating economic proposition. We witness the immediate valuation of the top 3 draft selections. Cooper Flagg, the number 1 pick for the Dallas Mavericks, making his debut against my beloved Los Angeles Lakers. Dylan Harper, the number 2 pick for the San Antonio Spurs, squaring off against VJ Edgecombe, the number 3 pick for the Philadelphia 76ers. These are significant investments.
Vivian, you speak of economic propositions and stock prices as if these young men are already blue-chip investments. Flagg against the Lakers? Harper against Edgecombe? It's a manufactured narrative designed to generate buzz, not to genuinely assess talent. The Lakers, your team, will be trotting out a roster of G League hopefuls and undrafted free agents. This isn't a true test, it's a marketing ploy. And let's be honest, the number 2 pick, Dylan Harper, playing for the Spurs, will have a far more disciplined environment than some of these other lottery selections. That's where the real value lies, not in these early matchups which are largely meaningless.
Now hold on, R-squared, you talking about marketing ploys like it's a bad thing. This is entertainment, man. Folks want to see these young fellas go at it. And Viv, you talking about stock prices like these kids are on Wall Street. They just trying to make a team. But I'll tell you, that matchup with Harper and Edgecombe, that's going to be something. 2 young lions right out the gate. Reminds me of when Dr. J first stepped on the court, though he didn't have no cameras following his every move. That's the real test, seeing that they got that dog in them, not just the fancy dribbles and highlight reels.
Indeed, George, the dog in 'em, as you eloquently put it, is precisely what these early contests aim to reveal. Beyond the marquee matchups, the league has meticulously curated a comprehensive schedule, ensuring that even the mid to late lottery selections receive their due exposure. Consider the New Orleans Pelicans showcasing Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen, or the Brooklyn Nets with Igor Demin. Each game is an opportunity for these athletes to demonstrate their intrinsic value, to prove their worth beyond their draft position. It's a meritocracy, albeit a nascent one, where every possession is a chance to accrue capital in their professional careers, a chance to buy more stock in the...
A meritocracy? Vivian, that's a rather optimistic assessment. It's a chaotic free-for-all where a few flashy dunks or a hot shooting night can inflate a player's perceived value far beyond their actual capabilities. You mention Fears and Queen. Demon D's are names that will likely be forgotten by Christmas. The true test of a player's intrinsic value isn't found in a summer league game against undrafted free agents. It's found in the grind of an 82-game season against legitimate NBA talent. Anything less is simply a mirage, a fleeting illusion of competence, a false prophet of potential.
R-squared, you always gotta be so negative, man. Mirage, illusion, you sound like you're reading from a philosophy book. These kids are out there trying to make a living. And Viv, you're talking about accrue capitals? They're just trying to get a contract, a guaranteed spot. But I hear you, every game is a chance. You see a kid like Joan Behringer for the Timberwolves or Cedric Coward for the Grizzlies. They ain't got the same hype as Flagg or Harper, but they fighting for their lives. That's the real story, the struggle, the grind. That's what I respect, not just the top picks getting all the shine and the big headlines.
And that, George, is precisely why the structure of the Summer League, culminating in a championship, is so compelling. It imbues these preliminary contests with a competitive gravitas that transcends mere exhibition. The top 4 teams, determined by their winning percentage in the initial 4 games, advance to a playoff bracket, culminating in a championship game on July 20th. This format cultivates a culture of winning, even at this developmental stage, and provides a tangible objective for these young athletes. It's a microcosm of the NBA's ultimate pursuit, the pursuit of a championship, a tangible return on investment.
A competitive gravitas? Vivian, the Miami Heat won the Summer League championship last year. The Miami Heat. And what did that translate to in the regular season? A play-in tournament appearance. The Grizzlies, who they beat, also had a middling season. Summer League championships are about as meaningful as a participation trophy. It's a nice story for a day, but it has absolutely zero correlation with actual NBA success. To suggest it's a microcosm of the NBA success, to suggest it's a microcosm of pursuits is a gross overstatement, bordering on journalistic malpractice. It's a fool's gold, a shiny object distracting from the real work.
R squared, you just can't let nobody have no fun, can you? Journalistic malpractice? Man, you need to chill out. But he ain't entirely wrong, Viv. A Summer League championship don't mean you're getting a parade down Main Street. It's a nice feather in the cap, sure, but it ain't no ring. Still, for these young fellas, it's a chance to show they can play together, that they can win. That's important. It's about building habits, building that team chemistry. That's what matters, not just who gets the trophy at the end of the day. It's about the journey, not just the destination, you know what I mean? It's about the struggle.
While the immediate correlation to regular season success may appear tenuous, George, the historical precedent of Summer League as a crucible for future greatness, is irrefutable. Consider the pantheon of Kia NBA Most Valuable Player Award recipients who once graced these very courts: Kevin Durant in 2007, Stephen Curry and James Harden in 2009, Russell Westbrook also in 2009, Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2014, Nikola Jokic in 2015, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in 2008. These are not mere anomalies. They represent a consistent pattern of elite talent emerging from this developmental stage. It's a testament.
Vivian, you're cherry-picking data to fit your narrative. Yes, some MVPs played Summer League. So did thousands of players who never amounted to anything. For every Giannis, there are 100 busts. You're conflating correlation with causation. Playing in Summer League doesn't make you an MVP. Being an MVP caliber talent means you might have played in Summer League. It's a fundamental logical fallacy. And let's be clear, none of those players became MVPs because their Summer League, because of their Summer League performance. They became MVPs because they possessed an innate, transcendent talent that would have manifested regardless of a July exhibition. It's a convenient but ultimately fee caliber talent means you might have played in Summer League. It's a fundamental logical fallacy.
R squared, you always gotta bring out the big words, conflating correlation with causation. Man, just say you don't believe in the magic. But Viv's got a point though. You see those names? Durant, Curry, Giannis? Those are legends, and they all started somewhere. Now, did Summer League make them? Nah, probably not. But it was a step. It was a chance to get their feet wet, to show the world a glimpse of what they could become. It's like a young activist. You know, they start small, maybe a local protest, but that's where the fire gets lit. You know, they start small, maybe a local protest, those and Johns.
Precisely, George. It is the genesis, the initial spark. The Summer League, therefore, serves as a critical juncture, a preliminary assessment of whether these incoming rookies possess the requisite fortitude and skill to embark upon a trajectory towards such esteemed accolades. The narrative arc of this year's event, particularly with the highly anticipated clash between Flagg and Harper on July 12th in Edgecombe facing Newepple, creates a compelling conflict. It's a direct challenge to their nascent abilities, a test of their mettle under the glare of national scrutiny. This is where the true champions begin to distinguish themselves, not merely as prospects, but as potential titans of the game, a true investment opportunity.
Potential titans? Vivian, you're already writing their Hall of Fame speeches. Flagg versus Harper is a matchup of two unproven commodities, not a clash of titans. It's a media event, nothing more. And to suggest that true champions begin to distinguish themselves in a Summer League game is an insult to the actual champions who have battled through grueling playoff series and overcome legitimate adversity. This is a glorified tryout, a showcase for agents and scouts. Let's reserve the Titan talk for players who have actually achieved something, not for those who have merely been drafted high. It's a fantasy, not reality.
R squared, you just can't help yourself, can you? Always gotta be the contrarian. Insult to actual champions? Man, you need to lighten up. But Viv, you got a point about the test of mettle. These young fellas, they gotta show up. Flagg and Harper, they got the biggest targets on their backs. Everybody's watching them. It's like when you're fighting for your rights, you gotta stand tall, even when everybody's looking at you. This ain't just about basketball for them, it's about proving they belong. And that, my friends, is a conflict worth watching. Let's about proving they belong. And that, my friends, is a conflict worth watch. And APTA is I gotta bite the back of the bark. If they got the biggest targets on their backs, everybody's watching them.
Moreover, the inclusion of other lottery selections, such as Conquanipple for the Charlotte Hornets and Ace Bailey for the Utah Jazz, further enriches the competitive landscape. Their July 11th encounter, alongside Trey Johnson of the Washington Wizards facing the Phoenix Suns, potentially featuring Kaman Maluak, signifies the depth of talent entering the league. It's a comprehensive talent entering the league. It's a comprehensive talent assessment, a meticulous inventory of the league's future human capital. Each of these young men represents a significant equity stake for their respective franchises, and their summer league performance is the initial quarterly report.
Vivian, you're still talking about equity stakes and quarterly reports for players who haven't even played a real NBA minute. Nwepel, Bailey, Johnson, Maluak, these are names, not proven commodities. The depth of talent you speak of is largely theoretical at this stage. We've seen countless players dominate Summer League only to disappear into obscurity. This is a glorified exhibition, designed to sell tickets and generate clicks, not to provide a definitive assessment of future NBA stars. It's a mirage, a fleeting moment of hype that rarely translates to sustained success. I've sold all my stocks in this future human capital until I see real returns.
R-squared, you always gotta be so cynical, man. Mirage, fleeting moments, you sound like a fortune teller predicting doom. But Viv, you're right, these other fellas, they got something to prove too. It ain't just about the top three. You got guys like Maluak coming in through a trade, he's got a chip on his shoulder, has the kind of fire I like to see. It's like back in the day you had to fight for every inch, every minute. These kids, they gotta show that same grit, that same determination. It ain't just about the draft position, it's same determination. It ain't just about the draft position, it's about the heart, you know what I mean? And Mirage fleeting Maluak coming in through a trade, he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Indeed, George, the heart and grit are intangible assets that Summer League often illuminates. The sheer volume of games, 76 across 11 days, ensures ample opportunity for these attributes to manifest. It's a rigorous schedule, a test of endurance as much as skill, mirroring the demanding nature of a full NBA season. For these young athletes, it's an invaluable opportunity to acclimate to the professional regimen, to understand the exigencies of consistent performance. It's an intensive training camp, a preparatory phase for the arduous journey ahead, a significant investment in their long-term development.
Vivian, rigorous schedule? It's 11 days in Vegas, not a full NBA season. Let's not exaggerate the demanding nature of playing 5 games against other unproven players. The exigencies of consistent performance are not truly tested until they face seasoned veterans in a meaningful game. This is a controlled environment, a sanitized version of the NBA. It's a marketing tool, a way to keep the league in the news during the offseason. To call it an intensive training camp is to diminish the actual grind of an NBA training camp. It's a summer vacation with some basketball thrown in, nothing more.
R-squared, you always gotta be so dismissive, man. Summer vacation? You ever played 5 games in 11 days, even against unproven players? That's still work, man. And Viv, you're right, it's about getting used to that grind. It ain't the real thing, no, but it's a taste. It's like a young person learning about the civil rights movement. They start with the stories, the history, before they go out and march themselves. You gotta learn the ropes. These kids are learning the ropes, learning what it takes. It's a stepping stone to ropes, learning what it takes. It's a stepping used to that grind. A necessary evil, if you ask me. You know, the real thing, no, but it's a taste. It's like a young person learning about the civil rights movement. You know what? It's a taste is like a right bite of finding Necker.
And that foundation, George, is precisely what the league aims to solidify through this comprehensive program. The very fact that a champion is crowned for the 12th consecutive year underscores the league's commitment to fostering a competitive environment from the outset. The Miami Heat's victory last year, a hard-fought 120-11 overtime triumph over the Grizzlies, exemplifies the intensity that can emerge even in these developmental contests. It's a testament to the players' inherent drive, their desire to win regardless of the stage. This competitive spirit is an invaluable asset, a non-negotiable trait for any successful franchise, a true indicator of future success.
Vivian, you're still clinging to the championship narrative. The Miami Heat won a Summer League title. Great. Did it make them contenders? No. Did it guarantee any of those players a starting spot? Unlikely. It's a feel-good story for a day, a fleeting moment of glory. The intensities you speak of is often a byproduct of individual players trying to make a roster, not a cohesive team effort. This competitive spirit is admirable, but it's often misdirected in Summer League. It's a sideshow, a distraction from the real work of building a championship-caliber roster. I've sold all my stocks in Summer League championships.
R-squared, you just can't see the forest for the trees, can you? Sideshow distraction, man. You sound like a grumpy old man yelling at kids on his lawn. But Viv, you right, that competitive spirit, that's what it's all about. Even if it don't mean a ring in June, it means something to those young fellas. They out there fighting for their dreams, fighting for a spot. That Heat Grizzlies game, that was a battle. That's what the fans want to see. It's about the effort, the heart, the grind. It's about showing up and giving it your all, every single time. That's a lesson that carries over, whether you're on the court or in the community.
Ultimately, gentlemen, the NBA 2K26 Summer League 2025 is more than a mere exhibition. It is a strategic investment in the league's future, a meticulously orchestrated platform for talent identification, development, and the cultivation of competitive ethos. It is where the seeds of future greatness are sown, where the next generation of MVPs may very well begin their ascent. The narrative of potential versus the burden of expectation will unfold over these 11 days, a compelling drama for any discerning observer of the sport. I, for one, have bought significant stock in the success of this endeavor.
Vivian, you're still selling a dream. Strategic investment, seeds of future greatness, it's all hyperbole. This is a marketing event, a way to fill the summer void. The burden of expectation is largely manufactured by the media, not a genuine reflection of what these players are truly facing. The vast majority of these potential MVPs will be out of the league in 3 years. Let's be realistic. The true discerning observers understands that Summer League is a low-stakes affair, a place for raw talent to get some reps, not a definitive Preds, not a nebular reflection of what these players are truly facing. This compelling drama.
R squared, you always got to be the buzzkill, man. Low stakes affair. Tell that to the kid who's fighting for his last chance. But Viv, you're right. It's about the future. It's about these young fellas getting their shot. And yeah, some of them ain't going to make it. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But for the ones who do, for the ones who show that heart and that fight, this is where it starts. This is where they lay the foundation. It's like a young person coming up. They got to prove themselves, got to show they belong. This Summer League, it's their chance to show the world what they're made of. And that, my friends, is a story worth telling.
As the virtual hardwood prepares for its grand spectacle, we must, alas, conclude our broadcast for today. It has been an absolute privilege to dissect these compelling narratives with you, and I sincerely hope you found our insights valuable. Remember, whether on the real court or the digital one, the pursuit of excellence never ceases. This has been Vivian Dime, signing off from Jump for AI. Until next time, keep those dimes dropping!